Welcome to the Explainer. You know, if you really think about it, your body and mind operate a whole lot like a high-performance computer. You've got your physical hardware, your muscles, your heart, your lungs, and then you've got your mental software, your thoughts, your focus, your resilience. Today, we're diving into a seriously fascinating bidirectional relationship, the invisible but completely trainable loop between your physical training and your mental conditioning. If you've ever felt stuck at a plateau, or maybe just wondered why certain athletes always seem to find that extra gear when the pressure's on, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We're going to break down exactly how your body rewires your brain, and then how your brain actually rewires your ultimate physical performance. All right, let's jump right in. 1.34%. Now, in the elite sports world, the margin between absolute undisputed glory and going home totally empty-handed is, well, it's razor thin. To really ground the science we're about to explore, let's look at the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games. The average margin between first place and fourth place in the men's rowing events was just 1.34%. In a grueling, agonizing 2,000-meter race, that's literally just a fraction of a boat length. And for the women, it was an even tighter 1.03%. We're talking about absolute fractions of a second separating Olympic gold from nothing at all. So I really want you to ponder this for a second. What actually separates the good from the truly great? I mean, when everybody at the very top level is training insanely hard, eating perfectly, optimizing every second of their sleep, what pushes those top performers past their plateaus? How do they squeeze every last drop of potential from their bodies? Well, the answer isn't necessarily just doing more physical reps. It actually lies in a continuous active feedback loop between the muscles and the mind. Section 1. The body-brain feedback loop. Exercise builds a better brain. Think back to your last really intense workout. Maybe you were lifting heavy weights, pounding the treadmill, or just grinding it out on a bike. You probably felt a very distinct mental shift afterward, right? That amazing sense of clarity? Well, that isn't just a fleeting endorphin rush. Moving our bodies actually fundamentally alters our brain chemistry. And it all comes down to a concept called neuroplasticity. Simply put, this is your brain's ability to continuously adapt, grow, and restructure itself. It's kind of like an ongoing hardware upgrade for your brain that happens in direct response to your environment, and, super importantly, in response to physical exercise. When you train your body, you are literally signaling your central nervous system to build brand new pathways. Now, what actually makes this massive hardware upgrade possible is a highly specific protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF for short. A massive systematic review of both human and animal studies showed that when you engage in aerobic and resistance training, your muscles physically signal the release of this BDNF. I actually like to think of BDNF as, well, basically Miracle-Gro for your brain. It actively promotes the growth and survival of your neurons, specifically targeting the hippocampus, which is your brain's primary command center for learning and memory. So the absolute crucial takeaway here is that this BDNF fertilizer leads to highly specific cognitive upgrades. When you look at the research, it's clear athletes aren't just building stronger muscles. They're physically building better, way more efficient brains. Routine exercise actually improves memory retention, meaning you can finally remember all those complex tactics your coach just went over. It significantly sharpens your concentration, so you can actually focus on that massive spreadsheet at work without getting completely distracted. It accelerates your ability to learn new, complex motor skills. And maybe most importantly, it acts as a powerful buffer for your mental health, significantly decreasing anxiety and drastically reducing depressive behaviors. You're not just working out, you're physically building a much more resilient mind for everyday life. Okay. Moving on to Section 2, brain to body, visualizing your physical success. So we've just seen exactly how the body physically changes the brain. But remember earlier when we said this was a bidirectional loop? Well, it works in reverse too. It's time to talk about how actively training your mind changes your physical athletic performance. Enter psychoneuromuscular theory. Now I know that sounds incredibly sci-fi, but it's grounded in hard physiological reality. This theory basically states that when you vividly imagine a physical movement, like, say, serving a tennis ball or lifting a ridiculously heavy weight, your brain actually fires very subtle, microscopic electrical signals to the exact muscles you would use to perform that action in real life. Imagining a physical movement genuinely activates your muscles at a micro level, totally bridging the gap between a simple mental image and a tangible real-world physical outcome. And we have the concrete data to back this up. A recent multi-level meta-analysis that looked at thousands of athletes found that imagery practice directly enhances agility, raw muscle strength, and even very specific sport performances like tennis and soccer. It provides a massive competitive advantage. Think about those Olympic downhill skiers standing at the starting gate with their eyes closed, swaying side to side as they visualize the course. They are quite literally pre-firing their muscles. And the researchers noted something really vital. When athletes combine this imagery practice with other psychological skills training, the performance benefits just compound significantly. It really is the ultimate secret weapon for closing that tiny 1.34% gap we talked about earlier. Section 3. The perfect mental dosage. Now here's the catch. You can't just daydream for a few seconds right before a game and expect to suddenly run faster or lift way heavier. Just like lifting physical weights, mental imagery requires a very specific, scientifically backed training protocol if you actually want to see results. And your magic number for this protocol? 10. According to the meta-analysis, the perfect actionable dose to trigger these amazing psychoneuromuscular benefits is exactly 10 minutes per session. Anything less than that might not fully activate those neural pathways, and anything more, well, your brain is a massive energy hog. Intense, vivid visualization is a real workout, and pushing past 10 minutes often just leads to mental fatigue and diminishing returns. So let's lay out the exact timeline prescription here so you can start implementing this right away. The optimal imagery protocol is 10 minutes per session. You need to perform this 3 times a week. And you need to stick with it for a total duration of 100 days to see those peak performance results. That's roughly 3.5 months of dedicating a total of just 30 minutes a week to closing your eyes and vividly visualizing your technique, your environment, and your successful execution. That is an incredibly tiny investment of time for a truly massive return in your physical athletic capability. Section 4. The operating system, fixed versus growth mindsets. Okay, so we've got the hardware upgrade from physical exercise, and we have the targeted programming from mental imagery. Now we really need to introduce the final piece of the puzzle, the software update, or the operating system, that controls how we even approach all this training to begin with. The incredible mindset researcher Carol Dweck identified 2 main operating systems. On one side, we have the fixed mindset, the belief that your talents are static. Basically, you're either a natural or you aren't. And on the other side, the growth mindset, the belief that skills can be actively developed through effort and learning. In endurance sports, and really in any pursuit in life, complacency kills progress. Great athletes don't get to the top by accepting an arbitrary ceiling on their potential. They get there by remaining relentless students of their craft. Let's look at how this stark contrast actually sounds in your daily life. Have you ever caught yourself feeling completely defeated, sighing and just saying, "Man, I just suck at swimming," or "I am definitely not meant to be a mountain biker"? Well, that right there is a fixed mindset statement. It completely shuts down any possibility of improvement. Now contrast that with the energized, inquisitive growth mindset translation. I have a lot to learn about swimming. Boom. Instantly, the door to progress opens. One mindset totally accepts defeat, while the other actually invites a challenge. Now, I want to reassure you really quickly. Having a fixed mindset about something doesn't make you a bad athlete. Nobody is 100% growth mindset all the time. It's much more of a continuum. We all have that one exercise we just dread. For me, it's definitely the foam roller, where our mindset instantly locks up and we get completely fixed. You might have a phenomenal growth mindset about your running pace, but totally shut down when it comes to learning proper nutrition. That's totally normal. Awareness is simply your first step. Just noticing your fixed thoughts and pausing to reframe them is exactly how you slowly shift your operating system over time. Section 5. Rewiring your ultimate performance. We've covered some truly incredible ground today. We've learned that pushing the body physically creates the neuroplasticity required for mental growth. We've learned that targeted 10-minute mental imagery sessions literally activate our physical muscles. And we've seen that framing all of this through a growth mindset is the ultimate key to unlocking the entire system. So how do we synthesize all this into an actionable conclusion for your daily routine? Well, there's a brilliant, highly practical tool from endurance sports coaching. To truly hardwire this body-brain loop, introduce a simple post-workout reflection routine. Right after your session, while that BDNF is flowing and your brain is in a highly plastic state, just write down 3 simple things. 1, what went well? 2, what can be improved? And 3, what was learned? This quick 3-step journal routine actively trains your brain to constantly focus on growth, iteration, and improvement, rather than just obsessing over what went wrong. The margins of victory in whatever you are pursuing might be tight, but your actual potential is incredibly fluid. Your body builds your brain directs your body, and your mindset decides exactly how far that loop can take you. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. When you lace up your shoes or hit the gym next, how will you train your brain tomorrow? Thank you so much for exploring the science of ultimate performance with me in this explainer. Until next time, keep growing.